What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 440 of Opinions May Vary. I'm your host, JR. Joining me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Alex.
Hello. You think I'm
I missed
lovely?
you.
Aw.
Dude, that doesn't even begin to describe. If anything, that's a inadequate adjective
Oh
for.
gosh.
You see that vocab right there? That's what's up. Pretty excited this week. It's a bittersweet one, similar to last week, in that it is the end of an era to one of the people who was most important to this show. I'm going to get sappy in a minute, but first I do want to introduce this week's guest. We are joined by an OMV legend and also one of the best friends that we've ever had is Joe.
Hello, my boys. I've missed you ever so much.
It's been and I know this is my standby in that it's been too long. How dare us? This one's kind of weird because not only is it we're talking last appearances of a legendary cast member, but it's also this is the last time we talked to Joe on the show, at least, was the last in-person show that we recorded. It was our PAX East 2020 recap.
Okay.
When it was, okay, yeah, let's meet up and do this real quick, but it doesn't really feel right, and we're all going to leave really fast, and I'm going to douse myself in hand sanitizer, because like at that point, everything had just about started, or like we were like a week away from everything kind of shutting down, and we all know what happened next.
It was amazing that in a period of from the time we went to a convention to the time that we recorded, we went from a time we were comfortable being at a convention to a time we didn't even feel good being in each other's houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember not jokingly, but yeah, I found it funny when we were at PAX and there was the BCEC convention worker, because they were doing what they could to keep everything sanitary. Remember the VR controls just got bathed in sanitizer when they were handed to us. Hey, they were doing what they could. But there was one of the convention workers who was just spraying a rag and then holding it on the escalator railing as it went. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's fine.
And yet no one was wearing masks yet.
We were at the time we were told not to, it was the whole, because like people didn't know what kind. They had the mask with like the ventilator in it, the breather hole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And more people were, we at the time it was, well, we don't really. It's not about your breathing out. Anyways. So I remember thinking at the time, I was like, dude, why are you wearing a mask? You don't have to. And now, I haven't left my house without at least one mask in 18 months. Here we are. Anyways,
What a world.
We not only we're gonna get sappy and all that stuff, whatever. That'll be fun, but we also do have something important to talk about, and it wouldn't be right to talk about this thing without Joe. In that there is a new Pokemon game. I guess you could say it's newish, newer, in that we have a new port, whatever. We have a remake of Diamond and Pearl, which holds a special place in my heart, especially with my relationship with Joe, in that my Pokemon career, I started with Red, played Silver, but I think I've told the story, but like I got all the way through Silver, got all the way to the Legendary, caught the Legendary in a grueling battle, batteries died. And I never touched it again. So I never like completed it. I can't remember if I beat the Elite Four. I don't know. And then I didn't play Pokemon again until Diamond and Pearl, when Joe and I were living together, and he convinced me to buy. No, I had gotten a DS the year before, but I just upgraded to a DS Lite. I was feeling so good, because Joe is the master of handhelds in that he just because I was like, oh, handhelds are cool, I got the flashy console I can plug on my TV and it looks so much better. But then I'm like, I see Joe having like mounds of fun on his DS, and I'm like, yeah, Halo sucks.
I was famous, semi-famous for selling people on buying the Nintendo DS. Like, if people would see me playing it and they'd be like, "Oh, is that any fun?" And I would just look them up and down and be like, "Here's the game that I'm going to sell you on this one." Pop it in, hand it over to them. Next day, yeah, I bought one.
I bought one.
So
yeah,
I forgot where we were, but like we're all hanging out, and Joe busts out his DS, and he was already in the territory. You were playing Pokemon, and you go, yeah, watch this. And you just like wedge a dime under the directional. Because in one of the cities just has like a circle, a roundabout street. And Joe's like, yeah, I'll just put this down and leave it like that. And we're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, to hatch an egg, you need to do like 10,000 footsteps. So you can just walk in this one circle with the dime wedge, leave it there for an hour, hatch all the eggs you want.
Hatch those eggs. That was on my 3DS, and it did in fact break my 3DS. Oh. So I was hatching crazy eggs, and then also had to buy a new 3DS because I had drift on my little dude. So you can't win them all.
I remember there was one time. I mean, the DS was like the thing that we didn't know how good we had. Like, remember with share play?
Oh,
I
yeah.
had Mario Kart. I couldn't remember if Joe had Mario Kart, but it didn't matter because I had Mario Kart, Joe could also play Mario Kart with me on his DS.
And 2 other people. One cartridge, 4 people.
Yep. Yeah. And it wasn't just like limited to battle mode. Like we could race. We could play the game. It was awesome.
You could not pick a character. You were always a shy guy, but everybody could race.
Right. And then there was PictoChat. Could draw dicks to each other.
And we did.
What more do you need? But anyways, I'd upgraded to the DS Lite, and I got Joe had Pokemon Pearl, and I was like, I'm gonna get Pokemon Diamond, and it was just a very fun time because it was first apartment, living with my friend, playing Pokemon, and it was just playing constantly. It was the first time in a long time where it was like. And it was great because I didn't need to take up the TV. So like my girlfriend at the time could watch TV and I could play Pokemon. And it was just a lot of fun. So Pokemon Diamond and Pearl specifically had a very special place for me. So when I heard they were remaking it, they were remaster. I don't know what the official term is, but it's coming out on the Switch, which the Switch is the best. I could do an entire episode on how much I love the Switch. Had to get it. Absolutely had to, especially because I knew Joe's still down with the Mon. We've talked about Pokemon at length with Joe and Jess Barber, and our friend Colin is also down. So we always typically, I mean, it's never really been like we have to do this, but it always just ends up happening. The last 3 Pokemon games, I think, we all just hang out and like we don't say much. It's just kind of just hanging out playing Pokemon.
It's kind of an unofficial holiday.
Yeah.
For whatever that is. Not even necessarily taking a day off, but it's always a reason to get together.
Yep. And this year was a little more significant in that we haven't seen each other very much due to obvious reasons. So it's, we play it safe and we saw each other a couple times. It was fun. We played Pokemon. So with that said, personally, I've had a very good time with this. There's a lot of discourse going on with this game. A lot of negativity. There was a lot of pre-hype, whether it was good or bad, is kind of depended on what day it was and where you were looking. But the games are out. Joe and I have played cumulatively about 60 hours between the two of us. So we can talk some Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, right off the bat, games get announced. Like I guess I can start with like the trailers, because games get announced, people are excited, but then trailers drop, and anger starts coming. And it was you started to see a lot of the discourse that happened around Sword and Shield, in that the graphics aren't mind blowing.
Yeah, it's almost like there's this hidden bar people had set for what they're supposed to be. And it's like they did not achieve whatever that hidden bar was. And I don't know what the expectation is. Like, it's not like who would ever want a realistic looking Pokemon game? Like, it just doesn't feel right. And I full on, I really liked the movie for Detective Pikachu, which is an unpopular opinion, but it's true.
Hmm.
But like, some of those Pokemon are weird when you make them
Yeah.
look too real.
Yeah.
Like, having something smooth and cartoon, totally fine by me. Yeah.
It was that whole like, and it was always like background images. Like you'd see a zoomed in image of like a tree and grass. They're like, this is from a AAA developer, the most popular video games, most popular entertainment series in the history of time. It's even they always say Pokemon's bigger than it makes more money than Harry Potter. Um,
I
you
do
know,
think it is like the number one, not
like
brand,
media.
but like source of merchant media. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it is. Like legitimately, it's the number one piece of media in the world.
Hmm.
And because it doesn't look exactly like Breath of the Wild, which if I recall, didn't Breath of the Wild get shit on when
Oh,
it was
totally.
first coming out? Everyone's like,
Because it was made
what
for
is
the Wii U. Like,
right?
it's a Wii U game that they slightly updated for the Switch. I still love the way Breath of the Wild looks.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous game. And now it is used as a placeholder for what games can be. It's just we've come full circle. But that was the first criticisms that you saw coming out. It's the graphics are terrible. It's a AAA developer. They don't care about you. They don't care about the fans.
But you're playing a cartoon. It's
Yes, it's a
you're
kids game.
literally playing a cartoon. Like, how detailed and graphic do you want it to get?
And
There's a artist on Instagram. I think it's Joshua Dunlop. I'll put a correction somewhere, but his whole thing is like making realistic looking Pokemon, and
Yes.
a
Oh,
lot of
I
them
follow him too,
a lot of them are either disgusting or terrifying.
as they should be.
At no point do I see those and I go, "Oh yeah, I want, one of those to sleep in my bed with me, like a pet."
I,
No.
I definitely want to see what a real Graveler would look like. You're absolutely right. I want to see what that Cthulian nightmare would do to haunt my dreams. Yeah. So weird. Even
it's
cute Pokemon, like a real Chansey. I don't want to see a real Chansey, like freaky little egg coming out of your stomach kangaroo fairy creature.
Even
Scary.
because he'll also like draw every hair and like all the fur, and it doesn't look like like a fun fluffy cloud dog. It's you don't want to pet it because it's probably oily or something.
I and because it was mainly like it's maybe a little blurry or pixelated
Yeah.
or this is a tree. How hard is it to make a tree that's not blurry and pixelated? Okay, everyone knows the Switch is not it's not known for its graphics. Like, I don't play games on the Switch for their mind-blowing graphics. When a game looks good, it's oh damn, this game is gorgeous. But like, I'm not booting up a game on the Switch for 4K resolution stuff.
Not to bring a different game into this, but whenever the graphics conversation of the Switch comes in, I always think of Hades because Hades basically came out on two systems. It came out on the PC and it came out on the Switch. I don't even know if it's on other stuff right now, but that's kind of how it launched out. And people who played it on the PC were like, I can't even look at the Switch's graphics. I can't even understand it. And I'm like, if you don't know what the super high def PC version of this is supposed to look like, it is beautiful. It's pristine, it's magical, it's so wonderful. And I went and pulled up a video of like what Hades looked like on the PC, and I'm like, that's great. That doesn't make that more fun for me.
Yeah, it's
Cool, but
Hades was my game of the year for what was it, 2020? I can't
2020,
remember. Even without, and I played it on the Switch. I put over 100 hours into it on the Switch. It didn't. It looked good, but I didn't play. I didn't give a shit about the graphics. I care about because it was an amazing game with great gameplay, great mechanics, and a really story that kind of comes out you weren't unexpected.
totally.
But anyways, so yeah, people were, and I'm not going to go over the whole chronological story of what people were pissed about with Pokemon. But that was like the first thing that like Reddit explodes with screenshots, screen grabs, captures, paused images, whatever. I just said 5 different ways of saying screenshot of the trailers and just bashing it. Oh, it's the same Sword and Shield all over again. And I was like, oh, great, here we go. And it got to the point where I messaged Joe, and I was like, if anything, I'm more excited for this because leading up to Sword and Shield, there was so much discourse and everyone was so mad and so upset. And then it came out and everyone's pissed. Everyone hates it. Not everyone, but a lot of people didn't like it for a multitude of reasons. And I loved it. Again, got over 100 plus hours into that game. I can actually give you an exact number as I vamp for time here. Pokemon Sword I put 105 hours into. First Pokemon game since Red where I completed the Pokedex, caught them all, downloaded the DLC, loved it, definitely got my money's worth with that. Loved Sword and Shield. Great game.
It was also fun. Like it was just a fun game. And that's where like the expectation thing kind of bothers me because I don't know what people wanted out of it. But like it succeeded in being a Pokemon game. Like I got to catch things, I got to fight things. It looked cool while you were doing it. It was a whole new world to explore. Like
like semi-open world with like the safari air and the can't remember what they're called. If there's whatever,
but like the ones that the camera follows behind you,
the giant fields where just Pokemon spawn at random times and random weather, and it was just fun. I really liked Sword and Shield. So, given the fact that there was so much discourse about it, I've said discourse more times in this episode. There was so much conversation, and people were so upset with it. The fact that the same kind of conversations were happening for the remakes for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I was getting more excited. And I was like, because the last time this happened, I got over 100 hours of fun gameplay out of a game, so I was starting to get pumped. And here we are. I've put almost 30 hours into it after a week and 3 days, and that's me like actively like, okay, I need to put this down. I haven't read yet. I need to read tonight. I don't need to stay up until 2 a.m. playing Pokemon again, but I easily could. Yeah. So I was starting to get excited about it. And here we are. I've played the game. Joe and I have both beaten the main story. There are gonna be some spoilers. If you have not played Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, or if you're planning on playing the remake and didn't want anything spoiled there, maybe come back. Maybe come back after you play it. Because we have some fun stories to tell, and they involve the end of the game. But with that said, the game came out. There was some more people were upset, kind of the same shit. But honestly, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's a Pokemon game, dude. There's a bunch of Pokemon, and I can catch them all, and I can raise them and beat people, and I can hang out with my friends and play Pokemon.
Do you have much of a memory of Diamond and Pearl? Like I remember the feeling of playing it, and I have some like scattered stuff. But did you remember the plot, or was like most of that stuff new and novel, or like if not new and novel, but did it hit you kind of fresh this playthrough?
Yes, 100%. I didn't remember, aside from some Pokemon that were like in my team back in the day. I didn't remember anything about the plot, which was which was cool. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Pokemon. I think I saw there's an article on Hard Drive. It was like gamers surprised to find that Pokemon it just it's the exact same game. And like that's Absolutely. What it is. Like they're pretty much sometimes the story's a little bit different and how like also you progress through the gyms. It might not be quite as linear as some other Pokemon games, but you're going to be a trainer. You're going to be given a choice of 1 to 3 Pokemon of 3 Pokemon. Each of those Pokemon is going to be fire, grass, or water, and then you're going to beat 8 gyms.
There's little like the mechanic that they add into the game or mechanics that change things around is kind of the only thing that hits my memory. And so I had no direct memory of what happens in Diamond and Pearl. But when we started playing, and then they, like a couple hours into the game, they introduced the underground. And the moment they introduced that, I went, oh, this was what made this game for me. I remember sitting there and going into this underground world and like chiseling out fossils and gems and things like that for hours on. Like that was the thing that defined Diamond and Pearl for me from a generation
Right.
perspective, and like started to make other memories fly back to me. Yeah.
I don't remember the underground at all. Like I thought that was a new mechanic they added for this game. Um, I think it's just not so because like I am a very particular like there's all the memes that you see online where it's as a kid you just have all attack moves, and as an adult you start to learn like some strategy,
Mhm.
some this move will poison, this move will paralyze, blah blah, this move will status effect changes. I am 35 and I still you look at all of my Pokemon right now on my team, every single one of those moves is an attack.
You got an Infernape. It's got 2 fighting moves, 2 fire moves.
Well, it's like when one of the previous ones came out, you showed me a Penny Arcade strip where they're talking about like, yo, I had like having new furry friends, and then one of them says, no, my Pokemon is a bullet that I load into my gun and pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Its only purpose is
Teach you how to hate.
to murder. And then J Barbs is talking about her playthrough where she's like, yeah, she really liked her their go goat, and they say like, watch this, I could pet it and feed it cupcakes, and now it doesn't quit on me. And Jareth's going, what? Mine's never done that. She's like, yeah, if it's in a tough battle, it like really wants to make me happy and will try not to faint and like recover with 1 HP left and keep fighting. And Jareth goes, that's never happened to me. She's like, well, do you pet your Pokemon and give them cupcakes?
You pet your go-go?
Never, never. No, and I remember this. This was in an episode, so you can go back and listen to it. I don't remember which one, but it was in an episode.
I feel like it was the X and Y episode where J Bars famously told me I had no friends.
She was tearing us up. They were tearing
Yeah.
us up, and rightfully so. And I did want to talk about this. There's actually a very significant story regarding this exact topic because I remember at the time, Jess was bringing it up, talking about the companionship mechanic and all that stuff, and I had no idea what they were talking about,
Mhm.
and whatever. I'm gonna write that off. I win Pokemon games. I beat them. So what is it? What does it matter? I don't need to change it all. But the companion mechanic is in this game. It's a little different. Like in Sword and Shield, you could like set up camp, and you can
Feed them curry.
yes, you can feed. You can literally make that. You make curry. You put in the ingredients and you stir it and you fan it, and you can throw toys so they run and grab them and bring them back to you, and you can pet their noses and get your because some Pokemon will only evolve at a certain like companionship level. It's not just when they hit level whatever they'll evolve, or when you give them this stone they'll evolve. Some Pokemon it's no, they have to max out your companionship then they'll evolve. But it's not something I really gave a shit about. Like it definitely helps. Like in Sword and Shield, I started to see it a lot. They held on, and because like eventually, if you just use them enough, the companionship rises as well.
Mhm.
And in this game, there is no ability to like camp and rub their noses and shit like that. But most of my Pokemon that I finished the game with were Pokemon that I had from the beginning. I was actually talking to Colin about this in that I was a little uninspired in the beginning. I kind of just caught 6 and I was like, well, I guess this is my team because I've been catching everything along the way, but nothing that I really want to hang on to.
Uninspired is such a good word for it because I had a similar, like by the time I was heading towards the Elite Four, I had 6 Pokemon and they were all relatively high level because this game has like permanent experience share on. But there were 4 of them I was very committed to, and 2 that were hanging out there because they just never really got replaced by something I was more excited about.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And I don't know if that's just because the generation didn't have the greatest like new Pokemon or the greatest Pokedex, because like you unlock the national Pokedex after you complete the main one. So like the 151 in this game, and then you can get a whole smorgasbord of other Pokemon, including some of like my favorites. Like one of my favorite Pokemon is Dragonite. You can't get Dragonite until you beat the game and complete the main Pokedex, and unlock the national one. Like there was only one Pokemon that I actively sought out because I knew I wanted it to be in my like team of 6, and because it's very expected. Everyone's sitting at home listening to this who knows they're sitting at home going, "It's Garchomp." You are correct.
Got to get that good bite.
You have to. I even farmed a couple. I was like, "Yo, what's the best nature for Garchomp?" And like I caught like 4 of them just to see if I could catch like the good one. And then I was like, you know what? I don't care about this. I'm not playing competitively. I'm just playing the game. But Garchomp is like the most powerful, like pseudo legendary. It's pretty much a legendary. It's insanely strong. But I also like him because I had him back in the day, in the original. But anyways, getting back to the companionship, and I guess I'm just going to tell my big story because this is
So
like,
can I segue into your story? Because I want to set this up
into it on 2 wheels.
And this is, it's going to lead to, I have no story before you have a story, but I wanted to set up I wasn't super excited about this game. I wanted to get it because we were going to play it and I knew it was going to be fun, but there was nothing that made me like, I need to go out and get Diamond or Pearl, the remakes of them. And then I ended up getting them. I was fine doing it. And as we started playing and we had our like kind of initial gaming thing, Colin witnessed me realize why I liked Pokemon games, what really came through. And it's not the storyline that the game hands you. It's the storylines that develop through these in the moment interactions that you have with whatever your battles happen to be. And that's what really is like everybody's experience of a Pokemon storyline is going to be different because what challenges you hit or what experiences you have are super novel. So I say all of that because I feel like you're about to tell a story that gives off a really good example of what that looks like.
Yeah, it was bonkers. The context has already been kind of set up with the whole with Jess and them going on about companionship and me just kind of writing that off. I breed my Pokemon to hate. Like Alex said, they're a bullet in a gun. Pull the trigger. That was me my entire Pokemon career. And then playing through this game, it's pretty easy. We'll probably get to that in terms of like the actual difficulty. I never struggled at all aside from the 3rd gym. I did get taken off guard. I accidentally over-leveled my Kadabra, so he started ignoring me. And it resulted in me getting wiped out. It was my first loss since Sun and Moon. I went undefeated in Sword and Shield. I never lost to any NPC in the game. Almost lost the last battle to the champion, but Joe coached me through it. But
that's its own story. But I'm not.
Yeah. That's a whole other thing. But this game, I was cruising through it, never really in much trouble, especially once my Garchomp like got up to snuff. Garchomp and like the main starter Infernape, it could pretty much run the table on anything. And then I had like backups in my 6. So one thing that's kind of unique, or not unique, but legendary about this game is that the champion is named Cynthia. Cynthia is notoriously difficult, especially when you can challenge her like a second time. And she has very tough Pokemon, very unique Pokemon, maxed out abilities, maxed out EVs, and they're essentially perfect versions of those Pokemon. It's just a very difficult fight. And from what I understood and what I was reading, they kind of like, they upped it for this game. Cynthia was even harder now. And I was kind of like, I was nervous, like going into the Elite Four. Like I go in like pretty, not crazy over leveled, but enough to where you can just kind of like run the table. And I don't remember the Elite Four being very difficult in the original.
Mm-hmm. We used to just run. Like I remember sitting on the couch next to you when we lived together and just running them, beating them over and over.
That's how you got experience. That was the best way to get, because they had the highest level Pokemon. It's also how you got enough money to buy stuff and blah, blah, blah. You just run the Elite Four, whatever. I hung out with Joe last week. We traded so I could finally get my Alakazam, and we go from there. And like I even showed Joe, like, Joe, look, I need to change. There's a bunch of stuff that I meant to do before challenging, like giving my Alakazam actual moves instead of just all 4 psychic moves that all do the same thing, just in different levels of severity. But I forgot because I'm an idiot. I was like, okay, Elite Four, whatever. I went in expecting to lose because I was unprepared with my move sets, and I knew Cynthia was going to destroy me. And I get through playing the Elite Four. The first one gives me some serious trouble. I'm down to like 2 Pokemon. I eventually pull it out. Cool. Long story short, I end up making my way through all 4 of them. One of them by the skin of my teeth, and I get to Cynthia, and I'm like, all right, here we go, haha. Cynthia famously has very unique Pokemon. The first Pokemon she sends out has literally no weaknesses.
Spiritomb.
It's in Spiritomb. It is a ghost type of ghost ground. I don't even know what it is.
Ghost Dark, which is the only combination. I think this might have changed because of the addition to Fairy, but I could be wrong about that. It was the only combo that would have no weaknesses.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the
one type cancels out the other.
Yeah.
So a weakness of Dark type is fighting, but because it's a ghost Pokemon, fighting has no effect on it. Stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, she's just stonewalling me. I can't kill this, and I'm not going to chronicle the entire battle, but it was a very difficult fight. She starts one-shotting a lot of my guys, and it turns into me playing a lot of Revive, Revolving Door, just kind of stalling, desperately clinging to this. And the one thing that everyone talks about with Cynthia and the Cynthia battle, yes, it's very difficult. It's also difficult because of her last Pokemon. She has a Garchomp, which is the same one that, this is pseudo-legendary, extremely strong. Her Garchomp is perfect. It has, from what I understand, I can't remember if it's in this fight or if it's this, because you can challenge her a second time in this game too. Her Garchomp is very, very strong. He was a solid at the time. He was like 6 or 7 levels ahead of me. Perfect move sets. They just wreck you. And I get down to just her Garchomp, and I'm like, I might do this. And I start freaking out, playing the game, doing Pokemon, and because on my team I do have a Gyarados who has Ice Beam, Dragons. Garchomp is notoriously weak to ice attacks. If I can just get off an Ice Beam, I'm gold. The thing is, her Garchomp is fast as shit. Speed in the game determines fighting order. And again, I don't have anything that can change this because all I have are attacks. I don't have any status changes. Come on, let's be real here. I have the Pokemon mentality of a 10-year-old.
And in your defense, so Garchomp is half ground, which means you're not paralyzing it. Like all these electric attacks, they're not doing anything, 0 effect. So The idea of hitting it with a status ailment is so hard anyway.
Right. I just have to get lucky and hope that I can freeze it or something. If that, but that's not me. I don't do status. I'm a terrible trainer. So it's getting down to the wire, and I can't remember exactly how I got here, but it got to the point where they're one-shotting everything I have. I had my Gyarados out, and I thought I had her. I thought I had it. I had one more Ice Beam. I can't remember exactly what happened, but full restore. The trainers always have full restores. I think 2 of them.
I think they have 2.
And Garchomp gets fully healed. So I got to start all over essentially, and I have 1 Pokemon left. I'm down to my Gyarados. And I can't remember exactly what happened. But it was
pretty sure she hits you with a rock move, which is super effective against Gyarados.
She earthquaked me, I believe. Which is just a 1-hit automatic right off the bat, just dead. It was an earthquake or something, but she 1-hit my Gyarados.
I think it was a rock move, yeah. And then I remember the look on your face because you had lost.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
I lost the fight. I dropped my Switch and I literally was hands on my head.
1 hit away from winning.
Yeah, if I could just get off 1 more Ice Beam, I would have had it. And I'm I lost. All right. And I'm clicking the button, you passed out or whatever it says whenever you lose. And I'm it's not letting me go. Why is it not? I'm looking at all my Pokemon are dead. It's not letting me go to the next. It's not letting me finish the fight. When I look and I notice my Luxray, little Luxray, has 1 hit point left. because apparently he took a big hit, managed to survive, and I was like, oh well, I better swap him out. My Luxray has a move called Volt Switch, which hits as an attack and then automatically transfers him out. So I imagine I must have used that. And also some minor context. My favorite Pokemon is Raichu. Raichu's my shit. Ride or die. Give me that boy. Give me that little mouse boy in my team. Even though he's usually a detriment.
It's your favorite.
He's usually a detriment to my team in the fact that he's fast, but like he has Thunderbolt. Cool, that's about it. Because I'm a shitty trainer.
And you've stated this, JR, talking about this game. Way too many Pokemon know Earthquake. An Earthquake will demolish a Raichu.
Yes.
We'll just wipe a Raichu off the face of the earth. Like a level 100 Raichu could not take a Earthquake from like a level 70 Pokemon.
Yeah. Easily, like just destroys.
And everybody in the Elite Four knows Earthquake.
Like that's when we get to criticisms. When we get to potential criticisms, that's going to be on my list. But anyway, in this game, I had a Pikachu. But like I looked it up first right off the get-go, like when can I get a Thunderstone to evolve a Pikachu? And it was like, oh, you have to beat the 8th gym. And I was like, okay, so I'm not getting Raichu until the very end of the game. There's no point. I'm just going to stick with this little Luxio that I caught. What's the first version?
Sphinx.
Or
Shinx?
Shinx.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll stick with this Shinx, whatever. Stupid. But I like electric's my favorite type. I like electric types.
Colin and I were there when you caught it, and you flat out looked that little guy in the face and went, "You're a placeholder until I get my Raichu."
Yeah, like
you didn't need to say that out loud, but you did.
That's all it was. That's all it was to me. It was a tool to get to someone else. And but I like electric, and also this game had a lot of water themed stuff.
Especially at the end.
Yeah, there was a lot of, obviously there was the gym, a lot of flying Pokemon, and a lot of water Pokemon used by trainers. So my eventually turns into a Luxio or a Luxray, got a lot of use and ended up being like my most used Pokemon, my highest leveled. It out leveled my starter, which is like the first time that's ever happened. Because usually the starter is so powerful, whatever. So anyways, Luxray was in my team just as like a compromise, as a placeholder, whatever. He had 3 electric moves and 1 chomp. Like he had a dark move and 3 electric. Just terrible. I'm so shit at this game. And I promise the end's coming up. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me. So I noticed my Luxray has 1 hit point left. And I was like, well, I'm still in this a little bit. So I sent out my Luxray. I can't remember if I healed it. I think I healed him. No, I sent out my Luxray and started reviving other Pokemon. Because like it gives me 1 hit to revive. So like I'm at least still in this. So I sent out my Luxray and I revived my I think my Infernape. Just because he's fast. I know if I get my Infernape in there, I might be able to get a hit off, or at least maybe survive a hit if I can heal him up fully and then revive another guy. Anyways. So I revive my Infernape. Obviously, the Garchomp hits me with an Earthquake. One of the mechanics with the companionship is such and such held on, because they didn't want to disappoint you. My Luxray has 1 hit point. Gets hit with an Earthquake, which is normally just one-shot it, no matter how much health it had. It
Let
survives
alone 1 hit point.
Yeah, it survives with the 1 hit point. Oh, shit. Okay. Now I can revive
It's also worth saying this companionship mechanic, not guaranteed by any stretch. This is not a strategy you can rely on.
It's random. It's totally random. And I was like, cool. Now I can revive my Gyarados to try and get this ice. Because if I can revive my Gyarados, once my Luxray dies, I can set up my Infernape. And while my Infernape's taking the beating, I can get my Gyarados up to full health, maybe survive an attack and get off that Ice Beam that I need to win. So I go to revive my Gyarados. I accidentally revived my Garchomp because I'm a fucking idiot. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not out of this yet. But like, Luxray takes another Earthquake. Survives. 1 hit point.
Wow.
It hangs on because it doesn't want to make me sad. And I'm like, oh. I'm freaking out. And I revive my Gyarados at this point. Luxray takes a third earthquake, ends up dying. It was press F to pay respects type thing. Thank you for your sacrifice. And I send out Infernape or Garchomp, whatever, just because I know they're going to get one-shotted, they're going to get killed, whatever. But it was only so I could get my Gyarados back up to full health to try and Ice Beam this shit. So send out the Pokemon. He gets annihilated while I'm healing up my Gyarados. They die, whatever. Send out the Gyarados. Take the hit. It's because if it hits me with Earthquake, I believe, because I don't think Gyarados is flying in this game, right?
He is flying.
He is flying? Oh, so Earthquake doesn't affect him.
No, that's why I'm sure it's a rock move that hit him.
Right. Yeah. So, and like this Garchomp had also used Swords Dance, which is like bad because it just jacks their attack up. So it's like if I can just survive one hit, then this is mine. And I can't remember what it used. It used, I think, like some cutter. Hits me, does a good amount of damage, doesn't kill me. I get off the Ice Beam, kill the Garchomp, I win. I'm the champion. I'm the champion of the Pokemon, all because of the companion mechanic and the Pokemon that I wrote off as a piece of shit, useless nothing. Because it's not my favorite, but whatever. I guess I'll use you. Also with a terrible build, saved the day. And I ended up winning.
A terrible move build, but a high friendship build.
Right. Right. So that stupid mechanic that I shit on so hard for years, never gave a shit. It's literally what made this game, what made me champion of this game. And arguably, I'd say between this and between Leon, the champion, and Sword and Shield, the two hardest battles in my Pokemon career. Which I know to a lot of competitive players, that's nothing. It's whatever. But again, I'm not good at this.
This is what I'm getting at, though. You had a story that nobody else had.
Yeah.
Like completely unscripted, unpredictable, all of that stuff. And you'll never have that same story again.
Yeah, it blew my, like telling Colin about it later. Colin is a very good talent for kind of really getting it in your head, like how important that might be, and like he starts really romanticizing it and
drawing
like,
it out of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And I was like, I'm not going to cry, but I could over these fictional pocket monsters. Yeah, and I'm really good because I hit up Joe early last week to get together to possibly record this, and I'm really glad that it didn't happen and that they're busy and that we had holidays to deal with, because this hadn't happened yet. This just happened on past Friday, and it was one of the neatest and most significant moments in my Pokemon career, which spans 5 or 6 games over hundreds of hours. And I got to share it with one of my best bros, like my best Pokemon bro.
Hell yeah.
And it was just because he was there through the whole thing when I thought I lost. And then the realization.
Watching that look on your face was heartbreaking. And then like, you didn't even yell in excitement or whatever. It was complete disbelief.
Yep.
You're like, my Luxray has 1 hit point. And it just changed the whole mood of the room. Yeah, it was the coolest fucking thing, if you'll excuse my language. And now if I want to, I can go back and challenge her again, and apparently she has like level 80 shit. But that's a whole nother thing. But that was the thing. Fun. I'm seeing this in these remakes, that they're refining a lot of the mechanics without changing the nature of the game. So that, like, to me, that is what you just experienced, is the essence of this generation, where this like self-constructed narrative, your own kind of experience, that really is the core of what made this game interesting and fun. And like I said, I'd largely forgotten it. And of course I'd forgotten the plot, because the thing that had happened, the way I experienced the game, is what made it awesome. And so it's nice to see like so many of the things they changed about the game, they're just quality of life stuff. They're things that make the game move faster. They're things that, like, you don't have to memorize all the Pokemon typing. So long as you have fought that Pokemon one other time, it'll tell you what moves are or aren't effective. If the Pokemon that you're fighting against is already out, like, and you have to switch to another Pokemon, it will show you which moves will work against it. Like, it's all stuff that makes it easier. It's fast. Like, you get the running shoes early on and you move really fast. The bike at its fastest speed is too fast. Like, it's just use it. It's really, really wild. Like, and that's what I want in an updated game, not something that changes it, makes it completely different, just makes it easier to play. And I think they did a good job with this.
There's a lot of, again, getting back to the discourse, a lot of people are upset with a lot of these mechanics. And again, that's where I'm in disagreement. I get it. You know, we were raised on a certain type of game. Some people enjoy the grind. Back in the old days with Pokemon, with like the originals, with Red, if you wanted to gain any experience, if you wanted your Pokemon to get experience points and level up, it had to participate in a battle. So if you were trying to raise a Scyther, that's a bad example because he has a trade for a Scyther, don't you? No, it's Caesar. Anyways, if you're trying to raise a Scyther, you know, and you got a really low level and the rest of your Pokemon are really high level and you want to get it up to your other Pokemon, you have to send it out first in every battle and then withdraw it, send out another Pokemon, fight the battle until the Scyther is strong enough to fight on its own. It was a grind. It was grueling. It was a really, really easy to, I mean, it's what happened to me when I was a kid playing through Pokemon Red. My Charizard, like, I don't think I used another Pokemon besides him in the Elite Four. Because he was like level 70 and the rest of my Pokemon were like in the 40s. You know, it's just, it was a grind. You had to do a lot more. And now they have something called experience share, which back in the day used to be toggleable. You could turn it off if you didn't want it. Otherwise, it would give every battle, would give Pokemon, it would split up the experience amongst all of them and they would level up somewhat evenly. In this game, in this version of the remakes, you can't turn it off. Experience share is set. That is it. And that pissed a lot of people off. I personally don't get it. I've spent enough time grinding. I'm an old man. I don't need that. But Joe, I don't know how you felt about that.
I loved all that. Yeah, like the experience share in particular. Like,
yeah.
It totally works for me. And again, a part of this is a quality of life thing. It was really nice. So there's two places where the experience share kind of mechanic exists. So one of them is the obvious one. You get experience shared amongst your team. But it also used to be that only the first Pokemon on your list, like the one that was at the top, was the one that was getting friendship, was getting companionship built out. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about it. And here, I had like a Graveler that was hanging out in the back that was just kind of helping out at times. And by the time I got to later mechanics in the game, the Graveler was looking back at me and it's like, it trusts you now. And I'm like, whoa, cool. I mean, it does make sense.
Why?
Because I'm hanging out with you for like the last 20 hours. But yeah, you were never at the front of this. But it's nice that I didn't have to like completely like try to build him in or work him out. Like having those mechanics just built in, it makes logical narrative sense. You've been here on this journey. Like, I'm glad you're getting this experience. I'm glad that you're gaining this companionship stuff. But it also makes it so that you don't have your Charizard situation, JR, where it's just like the only thing I can rely on is this guy because he's the one I've been using for everything. Like, it gives you an excuse to go and pull into your back line and have them come in and be clutch. Like, your Luxray ended up being. Like, could you imagine if experience share wasn't on? Like, yeah, that Luxray would have done all right because he needed to hit those water people and those Zubats and all of that stuff, but he wouldn't have been your highest level dude.
No. Nope.
Is it just a case of where people would rather not share because they want their one doing the fighting to get all the points?
Yeah, I think it's more a combination of people want the game to be harder. And a big criticism with this game was that it's too easy. They baby Pokemon players now with experience sharing, with companionship, and with like it's just they say it's a little too easy.
The type thing that Joe mentioned of saying like it'll show you which are the strong types to versus this one or the strong attacks.
Yep.
And that's a thing that like you don't have to buy your strategy guide for anymore. But when was the last time we had a strategy guide?
There's that too. So in my mind, it's not even that it's that much easier of a game. I don't think it is. And I forget, JR, where you read this, but somebody said something like the Elite Four is the start of the game and the actual like challenge comes afterwards.
Yeah, I had seen something that was like all the gym leaders are kind of like a introduction to like serious battles, but then the actual game starts at the Elite Four and like the post game after that, because you can go back and re-challenge people and they are significantly more difficult.
Right. And so you can get your difficulty at your own pace and at your own level. And it doesn't make it so that you have to be playing this hard, challenging for made up reason sort of game to beat it. But if you want to keep playing a Pokemon game afterwards, there's a lot out there that's plenty difficult for you. It reminds me, I can't remember, I'm going to mess up the name, I think, but there was a Mario game that came out on the 3DS, and I want to say it's Mario 3D Land. I think it's that one. And I remember playing through this Mario game, and it was the easiest Mario I had ever played in my entire life. And to a point where I was really frustrated by it until I beat it the first time through and realized I had only gotten through 50% of the game, because then the entire game, they double the amount of levels that you just played through. They give you an entire other set, and those are all the hard levels. So like you can go through and beat the game, and then if you want to keep playing, there's the actual hard game afterwards. But there's not this kind of like made up gatekeeping that'll keep you from enjoying the game.
Pokemon fans have also notoriously been after that challenge with Nuzlocks. Right. And like making up their own rules. Like Nuzlocke they're intriguing, but I'm never gonna do one.
I love watching a Nuzlocke challenge. I really do, but I have no desire to.
What is that?
Nuzlocke is there's a lot of specific rules depending on what type you're doing, but essentially it's a way of making Pokemon much more difficult, and like as if you were an actual Pokemon trainer. So like you have to catch Joe has it.
Yeah, I decided to look it up because I have it I watched Griffin McElroy do a run for Pokemon Y, I think. So I had it kind of in my head, but I thought it would be helpful to pull it up. So the basic rules of a Nuzlocke challenge, there are only two of them. So the first one is that any Pokemon that faints is considered dead and must be released or put in the Pokemon storage system permanently or transferred to another game or whatever. But you can't use any Pokemon that ever faints. You have to basically kill them off.
Wow.
And then the second one is that you can only catch the first wild Pokemon encountered in each area and none else. So if the first wild Pokemon encountered faints or flees, you don't get another chance. And if the first encounter is a double battle, you're allowed to choose one or the other, which like makes it a significantly harder game. Like you don't really get to customize your team. You're stuck with whatever the game kind of gives you. And then you'll see that people do these other rules that they can add on. So 3 of the really common ones are you have to nickname all of your Pokemon, which cool. Doesn't really change the challenge, but it's supposed to create an emotional bond. Kind of like the Fire Emblem effect, where when you play Fire Emblem on the proper difficulty, when somebody dies, they're gone. So I think it's you name them and develop that bond. The second optional rule is that you may only use Pokemon that you've captured yourselves, meaning Pokemon acquired through trading, mystery gifts are completely prohibited. And then the last one is that you cannot voluntarily reset or reload the game whenever something goes wrong, because if you do, then everything else is pointless.
Right.
So,
yeah.
There's a lot of honor system in a Nuzlocke, because obviously none of those mechanics are built into the game, but people have been doing them for years as a way to add an extra layer of challenge to a game, which, you know, if you know Pokemon, they can be pretty easy. And that was one of the things that I did want to touch on in that, and we already I guess kind of went there because I don't want to deviate too much, in that the game, I was flying through it. You know, I had the one loss to a gym leader early on just because of a snafu. I can't remember if I talked about it during pre-show or if it was when we were recording.
I think it was pre-show.
I had my first loss since Sun and Moon. It was what it was. Overconfidence got the best of me, and I messed up. It's on me. But
I died from the first gym leader. which I heard a lot of people, it's such a weird balance because I've also heard people say it's a really hard game.
Right.
And so, like, I remember telling you and Colin that I had lost to the first gym leader, and then both of you just barreled through that gym leader like it was nothing.
Yeah.
But I had a really tough battle, and I liked it. Like, it was a fun challenge, and I lost. It was a neck and neck, one hit left sort of thing. But I liked that. But I'll full on agree that I didn't face any level of challenge until I got to the Elite Four after that.
Yeah, and where the difficulty significant, at least in my experience, significantly ramped up the fact that it exposed every hole in my game, with the whole like terrible move sets, only attacks. Because I know, Joe, you mentioned that you were on like a deathless run, like you hadn't had anyone die up until the champion.
Yeah, one step before the psychic guy, the fourth one.
Right.
I always call that person Lance because that's what they were in the original.
It's Lance. It's always Lance.
Yeah. But yeah, the first three of the Elite Four, I didn't have anybody faint. Like, I had to use multiple Pokemon. I had to heal them up afterwards, but I didn't need a revive until the fourth one, and then the fourth guy demolished me.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
I was routinely getting my ass kicked by every one of them, but I did manage to pull it out, and eventually win. But it does get very difficult very quickly, and also when you beat the game, you can go back and you can like re-challenge gym leaders. And also you can do the Elite Four as much as you want. But from what I understand, the Elite Four gets significantly more difficult the second time around. And Cynthia herself is just leaps and bounds. And even with just the gym leaders alone, I'm struggling. I've beaten 3 of them, I believe, and it's been close. And I just lost again to the gym leader that beat me the first time. And it wasn't even just because of my own hubris. It's just because I suck. Like, she just beat the shit out of me. So I'll come back to that one. But it got hard very fast. It went from, oh, hey, it's a Pokemon game to, I need to think about this. I need to actually like sit back and kind of plan this out. And again, in terms of criticisms, people are using that as a negative. They're saying it's too easy. You shouldn't have to play through 20 hours of a game just to get to the actual, the good stuff, which I can see. I get that. 100%.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. That is a really fair thing. I'll say that those 20 hours were fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was fun.
A great time.
I didn't feel like, and I've seen this in some of the more recent Pokemon games and some of the older ones, honestly, like the mapping systems of like getting through a cave or something are like needlessly complicated. And I never got lost in this game. Yep. And I don't want to get lost. Like, that is not the fun part of these games, like burning through repels because I'm just tired of being in this area. Like,
one other main thing, talking about, before we get too far off it, because I did want to talk about a couple things before we end. The companionship. I've been seeing, at least on Reddit, people hate it. They absolutely despise, and it was like clockwork. The second I had an amazing experience with it, the internet starts exploding with why it's the worst thing ever, the worst mechanic. If you like it, you're a terrible person. Because they say it babies the player too much. It makes the game too easy. It's bullshit. It's way too common. I don't need to see hearts. I don't need to see it bouncing, expecting to be petted after every time I throw it. I went into involuntary comic book guy, but that's what they sound like to me.
Terrible.
Yeah. And it's just like this new mechanic that I've written off for so long that I'm now all about. Now that I'm into it, the community fucking hates it.
Yeah. And I mean, so I was pretty in the know about the news that was coming out from Sword and Shield. Like, I was pretty excited. First one for the Switch. Like, all right, I'm into this. And the people talking about it really drove me away from any desire to follow the news that was coming along with it. So I didn't know anything about this game when it was coming out. Like, I knew the release date basically, but right. You and Colin knew way more about the actual like news and whatever around it. And I will never go back. Like, so there's a Pokemon game coming out in 2 months. Another one, Pokemon Legends Arceus. That's what it's called. And watching the trailer early on in one of the first trailers, they show you that Rowlet is one of the Pokemon that you can get from X and Y, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm buying it. Like
That's all I
that's
need.
I don't need to hear anything else about the game. And everything else I've been hearing about it, like from trailers and stuff, has been nice. I'm not following Reddit or blogs or news sites about this stuff anymore because they don't offer any value to me. Like, I'm not looking for, I'm not chasing some invisible measure as to what a Pokemon game should be, I guess.
There's a lot of like if you keep buying it, they're just going to keep lowering the bar. And it's like, well, so far, like I've had fun with all of them.
They
Like,
say stuff like that. Have you seen anything about Arceus yet?
no,
I don't even know if I'm saying that Pokemon's name right, if I'm being totally honest. I've lost all confidence.
There's a big debate. I've always said Arceus myself, for what it's worth.
Anyway, for anybody who's upset, I'm talking about the Pokemon Arceus. I think that's what it is. I might have even messed that part up. I don't care.
Oh, that's
like
that's Arquas.
Arquois, right? The French Pokemon that created everything. Yes. I don't know. I just saw a GIF of it moving. That's what I was basing all of this off of.
Nice.
So
Nice.
Anyway, like the mechanics are totally different. Like I can't say totally different. There's Pokemon, they have 4 moves, you try to catch them. But like they integrated so much stuff from Pokemon Go, and it's also like a prequel, like before normal Pokeballs existed and all that stuff. And it's like, hey, if you wanted the most straightforward normal Pokemon game ever, get Diamond and Pearl. If you want the weirdest one that's like breaking all sorts of barriers and stuff, it's coming out 2 months later, people. Like, and I don't want to like sit down and shut up. You have a right to your opinion. It's just weird to try to find something to be upset about. Like,
it's the typical, I disagree with them, so I'm gonna bash them on my podcast that a couple of my friends listen to. That's fine. If you're looking for a certain thing in a Pokemon game, I get it. I'm sorry that it isn't kind of the direction that they're going. For what it's worth, for the casual Pokemon fans like myself, I guess I'm not casual. I guess I'm like a big fan, but also like I don't play competitively. I don't I don't even battle my friends. It's just, I just play Pokemon because it makes me happy. It's something I can have fun with. I can bury hundreds of hours into it, and just chill while my wife watches Homeland. And I get fun memories with my friends. It's a good excuse to hang out. And I don't know, they're neat. I did have one other funny story before we get too close to the end. Alex, how are we on time? We're over an hour, yeah?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, yep. So there's always the legendary. Always the legendary. Every game has it. It's usually, like I said, the reason I stopped playing Silver was because I had this grand duel with the legendary. Eventually caught it because they're notoriously difficult to catch, and my batteries died. Never touched it again. But you always catch the legendary. You don't really use it. You can use, if you use legendaries, good on you. Mewtwo was in my original 6 forever. I used Mewtwo in X and Y. That was the one with Mega Evolutions, right? Yeah, I use Mega Mewtwo all the time. He was whatever. But they're usually not in my main thing. Usually it's I'll catch it and toolbox with you Pokemon that created the universe. In this one, it was Palkia. I'd never fought Palkia before. I had Diamond growing up, so I had Dialga growing up, and now Palkia in Pearl. A lot of prep went into this because I think they nowadays, like, if you don't catch it on the first go around, I think after you beat the Elite Four, you can try again. But in the old days, I believe if you killed it, that was it. Whoops, you killed it. Restart your game. Hope that you saved at the right point. But getting ready for Palkia, making sure all my moves are in the right place, making sure I was all healed up, making sure I had enough Ultra Balls. I use mainly Ultra Balls, like they're the best capture rate, blah, blah, besides a Master Ball. I'm a big fan of Quick Balls too, from Sword and Shield. Especially because I completed the Pokedex. Like I learned that, oh, hey, you don't even need to do any damage. Just throw a quick ball and hope that the math works out and you catch it. And most of the time you do. I like quick balls a lot, but prepping for the battle, put everything together, put everything in the right spot, make sure I'm leading with the correct Pokemon, got enough Pokeballs, got enough healing items, save, obviously, make sure that you're all ready to go. Walk up to Palkia, battle starts, throw out my Pokemon, fight starts. Okay, let's go, let's do this, throw out a quick ball, capture it first try.
Where you at, Palkia?
Which, like, quick balls don't work all the time on regular Pokemon. You could throw it at a Weedle, and sometimes it's just not going to catch it. So then you got to do the regular, like, get its health down, throw it a regular Ultra, and, like, wait to catch it. But I got very lucky because Joe tried the same thing.
Dialga didn't work. And then I accidentally killed Dialga, so I had to restart, so I got to try it a second time. Still didn't work.
Huh.
Yep. It was, I guess it goes into the argument, the game's too easy, apparently. Because it was the easiest.
You played an easy version.
Apparently. I did. And I did catch. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, you had your whole Elite Four, like fighting Cynthia and all that stuff, and like surviving with a 1 hit point. None of my folks did that. All of them said they were my friends. All of them were like, "We're trying our best for you." Every single one of them wiped out. That Garchomp just unceremoniously wiped out 4 of my dudes without even just like earthquake. Nobody was like, "I love you so much." They're like, "No, I'm tired. I've had a week, bud. Bye. Peace."
I think that's also part of me is like, well, maybe the game recognized I was gonna lose, so like maybe it was just kind of throwing me a bone. Who knows?
This doesn't explain Palkia, bud.
Yeah, exactly. But like I was joking with Colin and Joe, I was like, "Do I have to get a Luxray tattoo now? Is that how this works?"
Am I a Luxray main?
When are they gonna put Luxray in Smash?
Who am I?
Not only get a Luxray tattoo, but also you have to get the UV blacklight paint for its lightning bolts. It's electric attacks.
Hell yeah!
How was the shinies ratio?
Oh, that's a funny story too. That's a Joe. I'll let you tell this one.
I can't even. You were sitting next to him, so we're playing. This is the first time that we're all playing together.
I'm sorry, it's the funniest.
And by all of us, I mean JR, Colin, and myself. We're sitting around my living room. We're catching Pokemon and stuff like that. And Colin, the beautiful bastard that he is, just casually drops out the, "Hey, I got a shiny Geodude." And Colin lies. I love him. Like, he's a great guy. He's one of my best friends, but the dude lies. So JR standing right next to him and goes, "No, you didn't." And Colin just flips his switch over and points it at JR. I still have not seen the shiny Geodude. All I had to do was look at your damn expression. Just be like, "Yes, that happened." Then JR looks over and sees...
This is like 20 minutes later.
20 minutes later, Colin is playing with a Geodude that's not shiny. He's like, "What are you doing, man? Why are you using your shiny Geodude?" And Colin just goes, "This one's a higher level." That's it. Bitch. It's the only I haven't caught a shiny. I don't know about you, JR. I haven't caught one.
No, I have since I learned shinies were a thing, I have never encountered a shiny Pokemon in my life.
Yeah.
I'm Googling it right now. Shiny odds.
I think it's like 1 in 8,000.
Wow.
Let's see here. Poke Radar. It's not what I want.
Yeah, the odds are ridiculous. Like, it's something, and like people who do shiny farming, there's stuff you can do to increase your odds, and there's like the underground mechanics in this game allow you to do that. But Colin hadn't touched any of that.
The odds of getting a shiny Pokemon, that's from breeding. Excuse me. Let's see here. The basic odds of getting a shiny Pokemon are 1 in 4,096.
Wow.
There you go.
And you can increase those odds through a bunch of different. There was a time during Sword and Shield where I was like, I'm gonna breed a shiny. What's the dragon with the airport on its head?
Oh yeah. I don't have the right name, but yeah. I know who you're talking about.
I can't think of it, but I was like, I want a shiny one of those, and like there was all this stuff if you breed it with a certain thing, and then if you hatch the egg with a Chandelure in your party, it'll increase the odds or some shit. I must have, God, I had like 75 eggs. Never. Some people were like shiny hunt because you can get pretty much shiny anything almost. Um, and then people go for like the shiny legendary, like the shiny version of it. And I saw someone on Twitch, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm 10,000 attempts in." Like, good God, I do not have the patience for that. And Colin just happens upon one, and then I remember my exact. I looked over. You're not using your shiny Geodude? This one's a higher level.
A higher level. Punk.
I'm not sure how it would work in this game, but a lot of other games, there's always a big complaint of how it's like, I just bought the game. I paid for the game. How come there are now microtransactions in the game I'm playing that I just bought? Was there anything of like costume buys or, I don't know, ways to modify?
I'm pretty sure
put a hat
everything in the game
on your Turtwig or something.
There's there's things you can do to get new outfits and stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's all in-game currency unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I didn't even change my outfit in this game. I didn't do a lot of the customization stuff. Like you can like customize your Pokeballs with like stickers, but like you earn the stickers in the game.
And they like it changes the stuff that comes out of the Pokeball when your Pokemon jumps out.
Right. Yeah. But as far as I know, it's just in-game currency. It's just you buy it with the money that you make in the game. I don't know. I could very much be wrong, but I have never encountered like there's been DLC, like Sword and Shield had an expansion pack for like more content. Like,
and I think that's new. Like, I think Sword and Shield might have been the first time even something like that showed up. Because I'm trying to think of when it happened. Like, I can't think of any examples of that with Sun and Moon or X and Y.
Yeah, it's also like Sun and Moon, and at least Sun and Moon had the shortest shelf life for me of any Pokemon game like ever. It just like, I don't know. It was what it is. But I don't recall any sort of microtransactions. Or anything like that, at least in this game. Nothing that I encountered. So I don't think there are. I could be wrong, but I don't think there are.
I don't think so either.
That's good.
Yeah, so but this is a $60 AAA game and you need pixelated graphics on a Switch. What the fuck? I don't know, man. Maybe there's a lot of other games that you can play. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm sorry that it didn't work out for you, and I'm sorry that this bums you out. But me personally, I had a great time.
I am curious how the community is going to react to the one that comes out in January about the God creation Pokemon that I will not say out loud right now.
But I sang in the video a while back, Joe, about there's a girl on TikTok who was debunking Arceus and how she came to the conclusion that Arceus is a girl boss. Anyways, out of context, that makes no sense and it's not funny to anyone. But there are some things that I haven't even, I mentioned I haven't even tried yet. I haven't done any of the stickers on the Pokeballs and the animations and all that stuff. I haven't done much of the customization.
I just started peeking into the Battle Tower, and the mechanics that go beyond that. There's so many little things. Like, I've never been one of the Pokemon contest type of people, but there's a whole thing going on there.
Yeah, I didn't even do that. Yeah.
Using Poffins to change Pokemon's like cute and stats and stuff like it. There's a lot inside of here. And I mean, a lot of that was in the original game too, but you can kind of pick and choose what you want to dig into.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I totally forgot about the talent, the beauty contests and all that stuff. I didn't even touch it. It's never, for me personally, it's never been what interests me in a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
But I saw people on Reddit who either loved it or hated it, whatever, but that's what they like in a Pokemon game. More power to you. I hope it works out.
I will throw out the game's a little glitchy, not in a way that ever broke the game for me, but there's things like when you first encounter a Pokemon battle, like your game just stops for a second.
It'll stop, yeah.
And then the battle will commence, which I've never had before. Usually the battle starts and it's just sometimes some sound disappears from it. But I only had that happen on occasion. And then I'm a big seed grower, like Pokeberry grower and stuff like that. I love that stuff. Animal Crossing like creeps into my Pokemon game. I can get into it. And there's some weird mechanics around, like sometimes you'll go to water your seeds and it just won't stop watering. Like you have to put another button for him to stop doing it. But they're like, none of them are game breakers. None of them are things that took away from my enjoyment of the game. I am pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this because I went in with a pretty low bar on it.
I did see there are ways to softlock your game,
Yeah.
Specifically in the 8th gym. When you're sliding around trying to break all the
snowballs.
The snowballs, you can get soft locked in the center, like locked in a bunch of the snowballs, but like somehow you didn't break one, but you can't move.
Yeah.
And like if you quit out, because also another mechanic in this game, there's autosave because it's a game in this generation, so everything has autosave. If you have autosave turned on, even if you turn off the game and go back in, you're just right in the same spot. So you actually, like, people found that if you hold a certain combination of buttons, you can load a prior save, and you can get out of it. But like, there are ways to there's a way to soft lock your game planting berries. Like if you go into your menu and you go to plant a berry, but you decide not to, like, and you press the wrong button, you can soft lock your game. But I never encountered any of that. That's just kind of like shit luck, you know? But yeah, I've had a very good time. I played all week. Like I played with Joe into the night on Friday, and then I got on Saturday. Me and my wife had a nice lazy day. Just watching garbage TV and playing Pokemon. And like now that there's the national Pokedex, which is a big criticism of Sword and Shield, is there's no national Pokedex. There's a set amount, not all like 1100 or whatever. But this one has a whole bunch of Pokemon in it you can catch. I've only seen like a third of them, maybe. I got a lot more playtime in it, which I'm excited for. So I've been very much enjoying it.
Likewise.
That's all we can ask for. Alex, I'm sorry. This has been just kind of like the Joe and Jeremy show.
No, it's okay.
By the way, my name's Jeremy. But
what?
I know people didn't know that. They're not good sleuths. But anyways, man, I am beat.
Same.
This is where I guess I should get sappy and say, Joe, thank you for everything you've done over when we were meeting in pre-show. Okay, like I was like, Joe, what was your first episode? And you were off. You pretty much nailed it. Joe's first appearance was in episode 10, the first double digit, which was May 22nd of 2012.
Wow.
In case you weren't feeling old and run down and sad. Joe was one of the main like pillars that kept the show up when Alex and I had no idea what it even was. Appearing in episode 10, 11, 15, 19, and then it goes on from there. He was on like once every 4 episodes for the first like couple years that we did this. Just always willing to talk about anything really, mainly video games, always coming to PAX with us. It got to the point where because Alex got so good at finding people to talk to and just kind of branching out, we didn't have to rely on bothering our friends so much more. But and it got to the point where Joe was pretty much just like our PAX guy. Every year it was Joe would come on for the marathon PAX episodes. And we'd usually get 1 or 2 out of him. Joe would spend his entire weekend, like he didn't have to. He could have he was a paying PAX customer. He could have said, fuck you guys, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I'm just going to do my thing. But he always made notes of stuff, collected business cards, and then came on and gave us incredible content. Those PAX recaps, not to mention like PAX is obviously my favorite weekend of the year.
I want to add, it's not just at that point, it's not just having Joe on because he's our friend. It's because he's legit putting in more work than either you or I are doing at PAX. And Joe could experience more, find more, get hyped about more. Whereas like we won't talk to people as much because we're shy. And Joe's coming back of like, did you see this? Come here, come see this. Did you see this? And that happens so often, so frequently of like, that's why we would need to have him on.
I mean, I loved it. I think that this was just so much fun, and I thought it was a really cool idea. I have the utmost respect for you guys for putting these out. I was telling my partner how long you've been doing this show, and as somebody who like she edits podcasts as a part of her professional job, she's like, I can't believe that. Like, it's such an unbelievable accomplishment what you guys have been able to do here, and like I take it like personal. This is there are people who I made friends with because of this show. It's like it's built a community around that will far outlive the final episode of this one. I'm so thankful for it.
This show arguably was a main contributor to the rekindling of Joe and I's friendship. In that there was a couple years where we were just kind of far apart, and then we like gradually struck up conversation, and the show started. I was like, "Hey, you want to come on?" And I remember the first time you came over, you got here before Alex, and it was like the first time we'd hung out alone in like 4 years. And I was like, "What? Like this is kind of awkward." And then like 10 minutes in, I was like, "Oh, okay, I
No,
get
it's
it."
not.
Yeah, it's like the definition of like riding a bike. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, right, yes, this is why this man was such a good friend for so long. It all fell right back into place, and it was because hey, you want to come? We started a podcast, maybe. You want to come on and talk about homosexuals and comic books? Because apparently that's what we talked about the first time.
We talked about that. I don't want to go back to that episode, and I would encourage anybody listening not to. But I'm sure I said something that I will be horrified by.
Yeah.
Despite my long-term love of homosexuals, yeah.
We were being positive about GamerCon being a new thing.
Yeah.
There was a show in California
that's awesome.
starting called GamerCon, and I think they were having a Kickstarter to try and fire up.
Ugh.
No.
What was that? Not the right term?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
No, that feels right though. And then I know that we talked about some of it tied into comics as well.
Yeah.
It's just I'm confident in my beliefs are probably the same, but I bet I made a joke that I would be embarrassed by or something
ditto,
like that.
yeah.
That's more what I feel.
Without a doubt, yeah. I mean, there's the big debate of what do we do with this when we're done? Because there's 10 years of me saying shit unfiltered, no one telling me to stop saying it. But I like to think that I've been consistent and not terrible, but who knows? Anyways, but yeah, Joe's been coming on for a decade now, and it was also one of the landmark participants in episode 100 back in the day when Joe, Colin, and Brett gave us the day off.
I was going to add, he's on this very short list of people we trust to do this without either of us here.
Yep.
Means a lot. Yeah.
And,
have you announced your official last episode? Like, do people know the number?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure.
The last one, 450. Yeah. Yep. So I take a lot of pride that I was 10 episodes from the beginning, and now I'm 10 episodes from the end.
Ooh.
Like, it seems like perfect bookending for me, and it means a lot.
Come on, like you can't write that kind of drama.
When you mentioned the number of the episode, that clicked to me, and I was like, oh no. That was the thing that I started getting teary-eyed about. So yeah, really appreciate it is, if for no other reason, what an excuse to bring people together and talk about stuff. And it's been so much more than that, but I will forever appreciate that the two of you did this so well for so long.
Thanks, man. And like, honestly, like, we can't thank you enough for all this shit. Like, it's been an absolute pleasure for all the show. Like, even keep in mind, going to Boston Comic Con when we would table at the show, nobody pimped OMV harder and better than Joe. I would sit there being like, oh yeah, it's my podcast, and Joe would be like, shut up. Okay, so this is a show. And like he's like busting out,
what are you into?
Like the business cards, like, what, you want to show us your art? Because we had the show us your art thing on the table, and like, I'm painfully embarrassed, and you don't have to listen to it. Like, nobody pimped the show harder than Joe. For free. We've paid Joe $0. If anything, Joe, we've cost Joe money, dragging him to shows and making
that might be true.
And
he would come back with some banging sketches, though.
Oh yeah,
hell yeah!
Joe's sketch game is on point. I
get jealous.
This is in the future. But one thing that we have never done as a group, like the main group of guys, we've never done New York Comic Con together. It's always been like chunks of the group. You know,
Mhm.
Colin's
Harrison
gone with us
trios.
before. Brett's gone with us before. My wife went to New York Comic Con a couple years ago. It was fucking awesome. But we've never had like the PAX gang do New York Comic Con.
I
So
believe in December of 2019, I said, next one, I'm there.
and then the funniest thing happened.
That did not pan out.
Um,
So
but yeah, I guess yeah. Thank you, Joe, for all of the hours and hours and hours you've given us. I mean, we've gotten a little bit better about getting going. There's no more 4-hour pre-shows, going out to dinner first, and then at midnight being like, okay, what are we talking about?
legitimately. No, I thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate both y'all.
You're a legend. Let's play Pokemon soon.
Yeah.
Assuming the new variant doesn't end the world again.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
with that said, I think that's gonna do it. If you like Pokemon, maybe check out the new Pokemon game. It's pretty fun. I'm not even getting paid to say this. So
nope.
hang out with your friends and play video games. That's the and do it and safely, maybe, vaccinated, if you can. But yeah, that's gonna do it. I'm tired and now I'm sad and emotional. So that's gonna be it. So until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
I'm Joe.
And this has been episode 440 of Opinions May Vary. Hey everyone, if you liked that episode, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Opinions May Vary, and on Twitter and YouTube at OMV Podcast. You can also find us on Spotify or on our very own website at omvpodcast.com. And if you're looking for merch, we have stickers and pins available over at omvpodcast.bigcartel.com while supplies last. As always, thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and we will see you next time.